Hi book friends, I'm Erin, and this is Erin Go Read. Today I'm going to do a tag video. This tag was created originally by Olive over at A Book Olive, and this is the Under the Influence of Booktube tag. I'm not under the influence of anything right now other than Booktube. I'm drinking a Kirkland sparkling water, grapefruit flavor, staying hydrated. So, this tag actually is what inspired my May TBR. So the first question is two parts, and it says, what's a fantastic book that you read under the recommendation of another booktuber? So I couldn't just choose one, as it's been about a year since I discovered Booktube, and my reading life has completely changed and blown up since because of it. So I have three booktubers that I'm kind of going to shout out that have had a lot of influence over me, and particularly with these books. So the first one was a recommendation from Simon Savidge, who recommends this book quite frequently, and that is Kate Atkinson's Life After Life. And I read this, I want to say like January or February. It was early this year. It was my first Kate Atkinson. I've since also read Transcription, her most recent book, and I really, really loved it. So that is Kate Atkinson's Life After Life. Thank you, Simon. This next book was a recommendation from the very first booktuber I ever watched, Rachel Kalanadi at Kalanadi, and that is The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal. This is it's sci-fi, but it's so realistic, and it takes place in the late 50s through the 50s. It opens up in 1952. And it's like an alternate history, so it reads very much like historical fiction, but the space race is the topic. This is a fantastic book. This is part of the Lady Astronaut duology. The next book is called The Fated Sky, is the second book in that series, and I really enjoyed it. Both of those books were two of my favorite books from 2018. So thank you, Rachel, for that recommendation. And then finally, more an author in particular, Jen Campbell often talks about Kazuo Ishiguro's Never Let Me Go. And so I read that one just a couple months ago, and I also read earlier in the year The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. And I just love both of those books. I love Jen's channel, and her writing in particular as well. I'm reading her short story collection, The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night, and I just read the titular story in that and loved it. So anyway, I'm a huge Kazuo Ishiguro fan now, thanks to Jen. A lot of these books too have been recommended by other people. Those are just the people that I kind of attribute to knowledge of that book. Part two of this question is, what is a book that you've been talked out of reading because of a booktuber's review? So over the last, 6 months or a year or so, the 7 deaths, or the 7.5 deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, the American edition is 7.5 deaths, the British version is 7 deaths, whatever, of Evelyn Hardcastle, has been talked about so much, and so I thought it was inevitable that I was going to end up reading this book. Saw some mixed reviews, and then Simon Savidge, who recommended the Kate Atkinson books to me, or not to me personally, yes, thank you, Simon. He and his friend Pip did it. They have a Crime Time with Simon and Pip. They read it for this little Crime Time series they do, and they did not like it. And I had seen so many reviews of this book, and I was over the book that I hadn't even read yet, and then he didn't really like it, and so I was like, all right, cool. That's one book I don't have to read. There's so many books out there to read, and I felt like, all right, I'm good. Question 2. Has Booktube opened your mind to, or changed your mind about any genre? I think I read more diversely in general because I watch a variety of Booktube channels, and so I see a variety of other people's tastes. I would say that I still am not a romance reader. I don't mind a love story, but I have not specifically read a romance book. I'm like less dubious about it now, but I'm still not there. So we'll see. Mara at Books Like Whoa is a big romance reader, and every now and then she kind of piques my interest in some of the things that she's talking about, but I'm still not there yet. Question 3 is, how much time did you spend on YouTube prior to Booktube, and how much time do you spend on it now? I almost never watched YouTube before. Maybe to look up, I use it probably like to look up exercises, like how to do a certain exercise, or if I was having, I needed a stretch for something because something was bothering me, or, how to do a specific thing. Really use it as like a how-to kind of thing, and I kind of stumbled across Booktube on accident. So I went from almost never, like maybe once a week or something, I would use it, to every single day. Not just every single day, but like probably at least an hour a day. Now when I'm doing it, I'm not just sitting there and watching my phone. I have it on while I'm like cooking dinner or folding laundry or whatever. It's on in the background, basically, as opposed to another form of entertainment, like listening to an audiobook or having the TV on while I'm doing chores around the house. And question number 4, how many books did you read prior to Booktube a month, and how many books do you read now? I was probably like 1 to 3 books a month. I used to have this pattern of, I would get really into reading and I would read like 3-4 books kind of in a row, and I'd be feeling really good about it, and then I would be reading a book that I just wasn't as into, and then I would just put it down, and then rather than just like DNFing it or whatever, I just wouldn't read. And so now I am often multi-reading, and so that sometimes will kind of get me into a little bit of a reading slump, but I'll carry on with other things. But I used to just stop, and then I wouldn't read for 2 months. But I definitely read way more now because I focus. In addition to discovering Booktube, I have also really considered how I spend my time and realized how much time I was wasting doing meaningless things. And so reading a book has much more meaning to me than scrolling on Facebook or Instagram or watching like reruns on TV. Not that I don't still do those things, but I find much more value in reading books, so I now give more attention and time to that. And therefore now I went from reading probably 1 to 3 books a month to like 10 books a month. I do have much more time than the average bear as well. Question 5 is, has Booktube affected your Booktube buying habits? And if so, are you pleased or displeased? Has it affected my buying habits? Heavily. I basically built the library. This isn't all of them either. So yeah, quite a bit. I say right now I have a really good library going right now. And my Booktube habits or my book buying habits have fallen off significantly. I'm much more conscious of how much I'm buying now, and it's more new releases, or for my Get Great American Read project right now, or if I happen to find a really great deal on an author that I know I like. I have this kind of irrational thought that if I see a book that I'm going to want to read at some point in life, I need to buy it. Like, it's not going to be available in the bookstore or at the library in the future, so it has to be on my shelf. I don't know. I'm getting better, but I don't regret it. I mean, I don't do a whole lot for entertainment. Books are it. I mean, I see like 2 movies a year. So yeah, just keep buying books. Question 6, has a review on Booktube ever made you retroactively change your stance on a book? So sometimes I think I will have a greater appreciation for a book. Sometimes, like in a Goodreads review or on a Booktube review, someone will point something out that I didn't catch, and will have a new perspective on something that just gives me a greater appreciation for a book. But I've never had like a complete 180. One example, and this is actually the book that brought me to Booktube in the first place, was Arcadia by Ian Pierce. And I read that, having never heard anything about it, just, picked it up at one of those like buy 2 get 1 free, or like 3 paperbacks for $10 or $20, whatever it is at Barnes & Noble. And I just read the back cover, and it sounded interesting. And since then, when I finished reading it, I Googled it, and I found Rachel Kalanadi's review on it on her channel, Kalanadi. And then months later, I saw Jen Campbell's review of it, and she loves that book. And she got so much more into depth and things that I didn't catch. There was all sorts of intertextuality that I had no idea. I didn't know what intertextuality was. And I have even greater appreciation now for that book Arcadia, and I will probably reread it only based on Jen's review. So I still love the book though. I think I gave it 4.5 stars on my Goodreads review when I initially read it. So question 7. Are there any videos that you felt inspired to make after seeing another booktuber's video? And have you ever felt inspired by another booktuber's style? Like any tag video, basically, you're pretty much copying, because that's kind of what it is. Definitely like the booktube newbie tag, this tag video we're doing right now. In another booktuber's style, I don't know if I'm like trying to copy anybody. I really like how articulate Olive is at A Book Olive. She is the originator of this tag. I really like how joyful Lauren from Lauren in the Books is, and I don't think I'm either of those things, at least certainly not to the degrees that they are, that Olive is articulate and that Lauren is joyful. Maybe I'm somewhere in between, I don't know, although Lauren is very articulate as well. Yeah, I like the variety. That's one of the things I really like about Booktube is everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own, whether it's the physical setup, are they in front of booktube or bookshelves, are they sitting outside, whatever they're doing. Everybody has their own style, and that's part of what makes it interesting because everybody's a little bit different. Question 8, what are some pressures you feel on your reading life because of your channel? I really don't think I have any pressures about my actual reading. The only pressure I really feel is to do the videos, just getting videos up, and I don't usually wear makeup, and so it's like, do I feel like looking presentable? Nah, I'll wait till tomorrow to film. It's more of that for me. I was already reading pretty much the same that I'm reading now before I started my Booktube channel. The penultimate question number 9. In what way, if any, do you feel the social element of the community has impacted your reading, and do you think about reading differently? I love the social aspect of it. I love commenting on other people's videos and them responding, having a discussion, whether it's with other commenters or with the creator, him or herself. And when other people comment on my videos, whether it's about something more personal or if it's specifically about the book, I'm really interested in that book, or I love that book, or I had this take on it, I love that. And then also what's neat is it's people in my real life who watch my videos we'll have a real life discussion in person after they'd seen my video. So that's been really fun. At my church, there's a whole group of women that are really into reading, and so we even go on this. Thank you. So I'll walk into church sometimes, and someone will make a comment on one of the books that I read during my on one of my videos. And finally, what influence do you hope your channel will have on the Booktube community and aspiring booktubers? I think just be yourself, be yourself, keep learn a new skill. I mean, that was part of me doing this channel, was to learn a new skill in making and editing and creating videos and all that. And I have just started, I actually just posted 15 minutes ago a video for my health coaching business related to that. So yeah, keep learning and growing, and I mean that's what really reading I think is for, right? So anyway, just be yourself and keep growing. So thank you all for this tag. This was a lot of fun. It's a little bit of an older tag now, but I'm going to try to pass it along anyway. I'm going to tag April from Getting Hygge with It and Codie from Codie's Book Corner. Thank you for watching. See you around the tubes.